The following is the true story of these popular fairy tales. Snow White. We need to thank Walt Disney for turning the story of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs into a legendary story as we know it today. In the original version of the epic, it is said that the Queen asked her minions to kill Snow White. And as proof that Snow White has been killed, the underling must bring Snow White's heart. When releasing Snow White, the Queen's subordinate kills a deer and brings the deer's heart to the Queen, and admits that the heart belongs to Snow White. The Queen then ate Snow White's heart and hoped that Snow White's beauty would transfer to her. At the end of the story, it is told that Snow White, who died after eating a poisoned apple, comes back to life thanks to the kiss of a prince. After Snow White was brought to the palace, the Queen was punished. But different from the version you know, the punishment for the Queen was very cruel. Her feet were locked in iron shoes and the Queen was forced to dance to her death in front of Snow White. Cinderella. Another story that was quite popular in our childhood is Cinderella aka Sia-Picaboo. In the original version, when the prince was looking for the owner of the glass slipper, Picaboo's stepmother tried very hard to get her children to be chosen as the shoe owner. Princess whose feet are too big, her toes are cut to fit. Meanwhile, Putri's legs were too small, her feet were crushed by the wheels of a very heavy horse cart. This is where the term pain for beauty actually came from. In the end, it didn't work because the glass slipper still didn't fit the two brothers. When the prince found out that the owner of the shoe was Cinderella, he was furious, and immediately ordered his pet eagle to peck and eat Cinderella's stepmother's eyes, then expelled the stepmother and her stepsisters from the city. The stepmother and Cinderella's stepsister eventually became beggars who lived outside the city. Hansel and Gretel. This Brother Grimm's fictional story was originally made for adults. However, because it was not popular, finally changed its version and adapted it for children. In the adult version, Hansel and Gretel are told that they are often tormented by their psycho parents. The father often whipped them and the mother used to injure the two children by cutting their skin and laughing when she saw blood flowing out of the cut skin. As the two kids run away from home, the two encounter a house made of candy/chocolate, which belongs to none other than the witch. Surprisingly, the sorcerer is a cannibal who ends up killing and eating them. Hansel and Gretel is the first story with the theme of cannibalism. Little Red Riding Hood. This classic story is actually based on a true story about a wolf attacking a little girl with a Red Riding Hood. This incident occurred in the 18th century in Europe. At that time it was told that a child was sent by his parents to visit their grandmother who was sick and lived in the forest. Initially, the child was told to leave at dawn. But for some reason, the child decided to leave in the middle of the night. As a result, he was chased by wolves. Indeed, the child escaped from the wolves and managed to arrive at his grandmother's house safely. But what he didn't expect, it turned out that there was a wolf who had eaten his grandmother and was hiding in the house. And when the boy arrived home, the wolf immediately finished off the poor child. The original story of Little Red Riding Hood was almost completely filmed in the film Hoodwinkled. However, because the film was specifically for children, the version was finally changed by following the plot according to the story we know today. If not, maybe you will vomit while watching it. The Little Mermaids. You certainly remember the song that was sung by Sebastian, the noisy shrimp from the bottom of the sea. With his Jamaican accent he cheers us up with that delightful tune. The story of the mermaid is also very touching and liked by many people to this day. But did you know that the story of the mermaid is not as beautiful as you know? In the original version, Ariel the mermaid, while still a human, is armed with a knife tucked neatly under her long, thick hair. The goal is simple: if someone suspects her existence as a mermaid, then Ariel must kill that person. He must do this to protect his identity, as well as the safety of the Neptune kingdom and the mermaid species in the sea so that they don't become prey for humans. In the development of the story, Ariel's love story ends tragically. Her love was unrequited, and the prince left her to marry another girl. This made Ariel heartbroken and finally chose to kill herself with the knife she was carrying. This is where the term mermaid tears comes from. Sirenia animals, also known as sea cows/sea cows, are also called mermaids because they have a body morphology similar to that of a mermaid. These marine animals are often seen shedding tears. And now you understand why he was crying.